You're not sure of yourselves, you're too meek, you are not proud of who you are, you are not proud of your music, you are very apologetic about your music, you always want to copy someone else. That's your problem. Most people think that just because you're in the global village, you have to lose your identity. But look at the Nigerians, they are still Nigerian in this global village. For example, if I brainwash you to hate Coca-Cola, for instance, then someone comes to you and say, do you like Coca-Cola? You will say no. You say, I don't like it. You are using your own willpower. But is it your own willpower? Is free will that free? It's not. You are using your free will on my own terms.
God's favorite guitarist on the podium.
Well, it's monosophical.
Thank you very much, K Media. Thanks to the British Council for this program, and thanks for the invitation. I heard Farai talking about the comparisons in my demographics. Zimbabwe's got 15 to 18 million. Nigeria has got 200 million. South Africa 60 million. But last year I went to Jamaica in February, and one of my biggest questions was, how come that country has made such a huge impact with only 3 million people? Because there are only 3 million people. Yeah, it was a conference, a week-long conference, and I was making sure that I make use of every minute. I made sure that it was not a vacation. I had come to work. I would visit music studios, speak to the music producers, and speak to everybody. So on one of the days, I asked one of the presenters that same question. But your country is very small. You're only 3 million people. What's your secret? And he gave me a very powerful reply. He said that our secret is in our confidence. We are confident about ourselves. We are confident about our sound. We are confident about everything. And the good thing is the gentleman lived in Jamaica, where he's from. Then he lived in Nigeria, and then he lived in Southern Africa, particularly in South Africa. So he was comparing those three regions, and he was saying that Nigerians, Jamaicans, and African Americans, originally they are all from the same region, which is West Africa. And he said, if you look at all these three groups of people, what's common amongst them is the confidence. Honor. They are proud of who they are. Even if they break their English, they give it a name. Honor. The Nigerians called theirs Pidgin English. The Jamaicans called theirs Patwa. They are proud of it. Wanishan some music and everything. But in Gochkora Churunguru, Zimbabwe, even African Americans, they've got their own language. They call it Ebonics. I'm sure you're aware of it if you watch TV. If you just remove the swearing, everything else is fine. So he was saying the problem with people from the southern part of Africa is you're not sure of yourselves, you're too meek, you are not proud of who you are, you are not proud of your music, you are very apologetic about your music, you always want to copy someone else. That's your problem. And that alone can stop you from going far. I know that we are living in a global village, but most people think that just because we're in the global village, you have to lose your identity. But look at the Nigerians. They are still Nigerian in this global village. They took their traditional music first into Afrobeat, that Fela Kuti style, and then it evolved into Afrobeats with an S, which is different from the Fela Kuti style. But if you look at it, it's their own music. If you look at Jamaica, the history goes back to mento, a music style called mento in the 30s, which evolved into ska in the 60s. And then it evolved into rocksteady, early 70s, just for 18 months. Then it evolved into reggae. Then it branched into dancehall. So that's why I always say every type of music these days is traditional music in some sense. Because traditional music is music that was passed on from generation to generation. So if reggae was passed on from mento to ska to rocksteady to reggae to dancehall, it means dancehall is traditional music. Fair and simple. And they are proud of their music. They can tell you the whole history, where it came from. First of all, it was not played on radio until they fought. Bob Marley and his team were saying that they were threatening DJs. I'm not saying you must do that. But they were threatening DJs with, if you don't play our music, you are not going home. So that's how confident they were with their music. If you look at Nigerians, the Nigerians that went abroad, they would go into clubs in America, in UK, everywhere, and they will pay the DJ to play Nigerian music. Some of them who were rich, they will say, if you play our music, we're going to buy drinks for everybody. That's how they started pushing their own music. So it's all about passion. And our problem, especially Zimbabwe, we are so ashamed of who we are. We are so ashamed of our music. I know it goes back to history. Because if you go back to history, the first missionaries that preached in Zimbabwe, they forbade people from playing the mbira, from playing goma. And do you know that there were pastors, not pastors, missionaries, that would go around with whips? I know most people don't know about it, but they would go around with whips, and if you were seen playing the mbira, you were beaten up. Not young people, I mean an old person where jambaras were in front of your own children for playing the mbira. So as time went on, everybody started hating the mbira. And if you go to school, you started singing hymns. And then in the 60s, there was a group called the City Choirs. They recorded an album, and there was a song that was very political. In that time, they banned local music on radio. That was in the 60s. And that was the time when South African music started flooding Zimbabwe. That was the time when American music started flooding our space in Zimbabwe. And you can clearly see that it's a process of brainwash. And what happens with brainwash is, if I brainwash you, I'm connecting with your willpower. For example, if I brainwash you to hate Coca-Cola, for instance, then someone comes to you and say, do you like Coca-Cola? You say no. You say, I don't like it. You are using your own willpower. But is it your own willpower? Is free will that free? It's not. If you are brainwashed, you are going to bring out the Munaka brainwash. You are using your free will on my own terms. So we need to find our way and appreciate who we are as Zimbabweans. I was discussing that with Group. I'm just seeing you right now. It's my first time to see you without it. So we've got a serious issue. Our issue goes back to history. Most people in the Zimbabwe music industry, they get into the music industry without research. It's one sector where people just dive in just because they've got passion. So we thank K-Media, we thank the British Council for organizing such events. Let's give them a big hand. Because this was things like this. We just dived in, and I tell you, of course, I done my research before I got into the music industry, but what you read and what you see in real life, I'm sure you know there's a serious disconnect. So most people in the music industry in Zimbabwe, they just enter without research. And the problem with that is that you base your whole strategy on illusions. So as a result, I'm sure if we take a look at the few years before, we've seen a number of artists who have given up, but I'm leaving the music industry. It's not paying, and ndakapinda stress, ndakashanza mari mumba, ainaudzoka. It's because vanongopinda without research. I've met a number of artists, especially the new ones, this era of the internet. They see what they see on the internet and they dream big. It's very good to dream big, but make sure that your dreams are not nightmares. Be very careful about that. I met a young man who was telling me, I'm the next Bob Marley of Zimbabwe. I'm the next Lucky Dube of Africa. I'm very confident in myself. I'm going to be huge. You are saying a lot on. But when I asked him, what's your strategy? Then, no strategy. Did you do any research which is going to guide how you are going to enter into the music industry? No research. All he had was, Ginger, I'm going to make it. And I remember in Mfakose the other time, I was visited by 3 young guys in Mfakose. And they were starting a rap group. And they wanted me to listen to their music. There was a lot of F this, F that, mother this, mother that. And I was saying, where are you going to play this music? And they said, you know what? Our vision is very big. We are not looking at working with local producers. We are looking at working with the likes of Dr. Dre. And again, I asked them about their strategy. No strategy, no plans, no research. And I told them, you know what? Just a month ago, I was in America, in the USA. It's a country with 300 million people. There are thousands of other youngsters who are doing the same type of music that you are doing, who are failing to even to speak to Dr. Dre. And then you think, you are going to get an access, Dr. Dre. Those are some of the nightmares I'm talking about. Sometimes we think we are dreaming when we are just having nightmares. So it's very important for you to enter the music industry fully aware of the ups and downs. And even if someone tells you about the downs, ask who it out singing, so that they say forewarned is forearmed. Because if you admit that you are blind, you learn to see in the dark. Talking about perception, things that drive perception are things like radio, TV, the internet. Someone sees Beyonce there, and then they think, okay, Beyonce is rich, she's making millions. I think if I do the same type of music that she's doing and dress the same way she's dressing, I can make it on the international stage. But listen, gentlemen, the world is not looking for another Beyonce. Beyonce is there already. Beyonce, I was talking about even the young man who was talking about Bob Marley, I told him the world is not looking for another Bob Marley. Even his own children, they failed to fill the shoes. And they look like him, they sound like him. You really need to work out your strategy and do your research and get the facts right. Even if you know words out there, just listen. One knows what Pakamira says so that you plan. One thing about the Zimbabwe music industry is that it's full of paradoxes. And you know what are paradoxes? Contradictions. For example, if you sound very Nigerian or very South African, you get a lot of airplay on radio. But you cannot go anywhere outside Zimbabwe. So for you to make it on radio, you need to sound South African, Nigerian, Jamaican, everything. But for you to fly out there on the international stage, you have to sound Zimbabwean. That's another paradox. And I was discussing with Gurupira in the morning, in other countries, if you want to see what type of music, shout out with Mari, just go to the clubs and see what's playing in the clubs. But in Zimbabwe, if you go to the clubs and see what's playing in the clubs, what tribe was Mari? That's a paradox. I remember in the 90s, Rumba was very huge. Do you remember the days of Kanda Bongoman in the morning? Rumba was huge. And the Kanda Bongoman, Pepe Kale, Kofolo Mide, Extra Musica, those guys will come to Zimbabwe and get all the money. Here's the paradox. Some people thought if we play Rumba, we are going to get all this audience. And they did play Rumba. And guess what? Peter Tangwena, I was going to some CDs in Green Paper, America. I will not just talk about Peter Tangwena and other musicians. I was also part of 2 of those bands. And I remember the time my girlfriend was pregnant and I needed the money. But we would go around Zimbabwe to send. That's a serious paradox. But Pepe Kalo would come, fill up HICC, and take all the money. So you need to study those paradoxes. So where is the money in Zimbabwe? If you are getting into the music industry, so that you are open to sag. The history of music in Zimbabwe, it started in the 1930s. If you look at the history from the 1930s up to now, you can see where Zimbabwe stands. You know what they do, Mama? What my businessmen do? They come, take a survey, look at the history of the country. Otherwise, we end up selling my snow removal machines in Zimbabwe. It's not snow. But we've got my musicians who sell the snow removal machines. Serious. If you know, my musicians are not in Zimbabwe. But still, I'm going to make it. I was speaking to one young man the other time. That was 2015. So the album was well produced, well sung. Everything was top notch. But I told him, you know what? This sound, I doubt this sound can sell. Everything is good. And you were saying, you know what? Maybe I'll be the first one. They said, okay, that's good. Maybe I'm wrong. I might be wrong. Let's speak after 5 years. That was 2015. Right now, he gave up music. And usually people look for a very sanitized reason. Okay, so the next topic I'm talking about the dynamics genres. As an artist, you need to know the dynamics genres so that you choose your genre well. And I would like to warn you, Zakare, before I go any further, but it's not wise to call yourself a versatile artist who plays everything. If I ask you, give me one artist, a career right now, who is a versatile artist? Just one, I don't want two. Just one. Apana. Shouldn't one go zikana on the dancehall? Bena go zikana on the Afrobeats. Hakuna album ra first song is jazz, second song is amapiano, third song. You need to be identified with one genre. So what I'm just going to do here, I'm just going to give you my dynamics of each genre so that as an artist, if you're choosing, you know how your genre operates. Okay, let's start with Sungura. Sungura, it's a genre that started in Kenya. They call it Benga music. I know most of you know the genre they used to call Kanindo. It's not the genre, it's the rap producer. His name was Oluchi Fares Kanindo. Sorry to surprise you. Freedom fighters, right, with Rwanda, Zimbabwe, are the ones who first came with the music in Zimbabwe. And those days, what they used to do is they would write the name of the record label on the record. So Fares Kanindo, he had a number of record labels, and one of the record labels was called Sungura. Sungura means tsuru in Swahili. So Sungura was the name of a record label. And people in Zimbabwe thought that's the name of the genre, and they called it Sungura and started playing it. And it became very huge. The good thing is we Zimbabweanized it. We put some elements, we put in some Zimbabwean elements. And right now, if you listen to Sungura, Zimbabwean Sungura, and listen to Benga music, or if you want to call it Kanindo, it's still okay. It's different. But one good thing about Sungura is very big in Zimbabwe. One of the biggest artists in Sungura is Alec Macheso. He's making a lot of money. And regionally, the northern part of South Africa, the eastern part of Mozambique, Botswana, Namibia, Sungura sells a lot. But most youngsters, they shun Sungura music. I know, but balance, but it's up to you, swag. And then, Paninyika knows Colombia. It's South America. Do you know one funny thing? Sungura is gaining traction in Colombia. Most people are not aware. I was contacted by a DJ from Colombia. They've got a style of music they call champeta music. You can Google it. Champeta music. Champeta. And those artists that do champeta music are fusing Sungura music with their own music. And they are creating certain subgenres, certain styles of Sungura music. And he sent me one clip here. One song ends take cover. So, here in 1980. They sampled that and created a song. And they're making money out of what? Sungura music. And we are busy running away from it. So those are some of the ideas of the pins or global arena. I'm sure you've seen a lot of white people playing beat music in America. They've got festival they call Zenfest, where they play nothing but Mbira music, and it's all white people. So those are the dynamics of Sungura. So with Sungura music, regional is fine, but we haven't penetrated the global stage that much. But like I told you, in Colombia, Sungura is gaining traction. Then we come to Mbira-based music. What I call Mbira-based music is music that was created from Mbira or sub-genres that came from Mbira. Like all of this music, it's Mbira-based, Thomas Mafumo, Chuniso Maraire. We've never exported any type of music more than that music. And I'm sure we know that our biggest export has been Oliver Mtukudzi. And he plays that genre. Why is it exportable? It's Zimbabwean. Remember what the Jamaican said? He said what? We Jamaicans, we are very confident of our things. You Southern Africans are not. You are ashamed of your things. So artists like Oliver Mtukudzi, Thomas Mafumo, we're not ashamed of our music. And they've taken it all over the world. And the same applies to Mbube music. If you know groups like Black Mfolosi from Bulawayo, they are globetrotting around the world. Even this group, Mokomba, they're from Vic Falls. Right now, it's our biggest export. They are not ashamed of being Zimbabwean.
Is it not the same Mbira?
No, Mukomba. Yeah, I said there's Mokomba, Mbira-based music, and then there's Mbube-based music, like the Black Mfolosi. So Mokomba also does some Mbube, but they've got a very unique genre that they play in Victoria Falls. I don't know what they call it. It sounds West African-ish. Have you ever listened to Mokomba? Yeah, it's a sound West African-ish. I don't know the language they speak. They speak some very... Tonga. Then I'm going to move to jazz music. And in Zimbabwe, of course, what we call jazz is we've got artists that play proper jazz like Dudu, and then artists that play jazz as well, like jazz fusions like Josh Make Raven. She also plays jazz. Mwanangu Tariro, Anofusa. And so basically, when we talk of the jazz bracket in Zimbabwe, we are talking of jazz fusions in adult contemporary. Where the money is with those genres is usually corporate gigs, private functions. They don't want to hire my band. They bring a lot of crowds, but they don't buy anything. But with jazz crowds, they can be 15 or 10, the whole club. But your Marine Spinda, they buy one. So Maria Jazz ne mama genres are adult contemporary. Irma restaurants, ma corporate functions, ma chichichi. So it's important for you to know that information so that you make a decision. Then we come to dancehall. Dancehall is one of the biggest genres in Zimbabwe right now. I was speaking to Joshua Jerry, is one of the biggest promoters in Zimbabwe right now, and he was saying the music that is bringing in money in Zimbabwe, there are two genres, it's dancehall and sungura. So in Zimbabwe, dancehall is making it big, but at the moment we have not been able to export it. So it's important for you to know that as well, so that you make your decisions well. But the potential is there. Because when I was in Jamaica in February last year, we met somebody, I think from Trinidad, and he was talking of Natty O. Yeah, in Trinidad. They came across his music online. So the potential is there, but at the moment, we've not broken through internationally. And then lastly, I'll touch on R&B. So far, I was speaking to Tyro and said, if this Joe Thomas gig was not a flop, it is going to be the first one who's a flopper. Yeah, because all other R&B gigs that were held in Zimbabwe, they flopped. Don't be fooled. And I'm not dissing. The negatives and the positives, the ups and the downs. So that you choose a genre, you choose wisely. I wouldn't want to come here and batter you. I know the music industry, there are a lot of illusions. uzapane munhu anokuzoti ndiri kuita mari nemusic achifamba nezimota hembe dzese dzimusic wozonzwa time aburana nerimwe zimho muzotaura kuti ndezvangu zvese. That has happened a lot. So a lot of youngsters vanopinda music industry vachiudzwa maillusions, vazopinda uzoti how come uyu ari kufamba nemabhenzi but ine I can't even afford a bicycle. Wototanga kutofunga kuti maybe ndakaroiwa kana ndine munyama or something. So ladies and gentlemen, kana uri kupinda muindustry inini I won't butter you. I will tell you as it is kuti zvakamira so. Kana uchigumbuka unogumbuka hako, but pane kunonzi kusvinana mamota akawaitwa kudhara kuti munhu akaita mota maingobatirana musvina mota achitoka muri mukadzi wani ichichi vatemde munhu wechese uzopora. So I've spoken to a number of my artists. I'm manzwa my former student. He was my student at Prince Edward School when I used to teach guitar. I've been in the industry for 37 years. I've traveled over 30 countries around the world. And when I give information, it's empirical data. I can give you the information in the data. And I'm already history music in Zimbabwe. Takaita test na College of Music. Just when I'm from 1930 up to now. You can check right from 1930 up to now. My trends are consistent in the art. And one of the biggest trends are very consistent from 1930 up to now. And this is the history repeats itself. It's self-denial Zimbabweans of hating who we are. I can give you a breakdown from 1930s. There is the jazz. The jazz is good. So the country music. 1940s there was big band jazz. Tikayita groups akana the Black Evening Follies 1950 pakauya quartet pakauya cool crooners papapinda vanasimanje manje 1970s papapinda rock and roll. Tikayita maband rock muZimbabwe ana Eye of Liberty pane mwainzi Manu Kambani. He was a guitarist. He used to call himself the Jimi Hendrix of Zimbabwe. He used to wear a t-shirt written Jimi Hendrix is dead but Manu Kambani is alive. And everybody, I've got a pinda was supposed to go on its own to America, but it didn't happen that way. 80s, there was reggae music. 90s, there was rumba. I talked about rumba. Year 2000, we had an R&B version, the urban grooves. And I kind of think with from a genre, I think that genre was a failure.
So, I thought it was the end of its time.
And now one knows genre. I told you I won't come to please you. Yeah, you want to be honest. Don't tito batsirana kwacho. Wozukapinda miza ndichikunyebera kuti zvinoita mari wozona zvisina you unondivenga. It's better unondivenga these 5 minutes. Then wozodecide unozati chikwete pachino changa kuuya. They say the truth will set you free, but it will freak you out in the first minutes. This guy, this old guy. And guys, make no mistake. I'm not saying don't play any type of music that you want to play. Go ahead and play what you want to play. But usually my fakes are ones of peace under normal circumstances. But go and do whatever you want to do. Because every time I speak like this, I thought, hey, no, do what you want to do. Ndikati musango mune shumba manzotaura kuti usampinda kana udampinda ukajiwa ndizvozvo kuti olanje shumba it's fine. So I'm not saying don't do anything you want to do. I'm just giving you my dynamics kuti sungura yakamira so. MuZimbabwe inoita mari nenyika dzakatitenderedza. Jazz yakamira so. Chakanakira jazz ine advantage yekuti ine mukana wekuti it's very elastic. Zim jazz, Afro jazz, classical jazz, you can twist it in any direction. Although I'm not going to set my big numbers, but I'm not going to marry Zao. My drinks are not mari. Then dance yakamira so Zimbabwe but we've not exported it yet. I don't know if we're going to be able to export it. Then R&B that all affects ango so far ya Joe Thomas can not flop. Doing it tanga, mamwe esaka flop. So what I've done is I've set a table in front of you. Choose what you want to choose. And themselves on the wing, because in that hour Chobadi says chili. The good thing is we're recording everything. If you misquote me, I've got the evidence. So lastly, my conclusion is this. Zimbabwe has got very intelligent people. It's one of the countries in a very intelligent people in Africa. And all the other countries, they know it. Those are Tito Vengwa Zimbabwe. But at times, we think life is not fair. We're very intelligent, but things are not moving. Zimbabwe have got good singers, but how come they're not going on the global stage? Ladies and gentlemen, life is not fair. Life is strategic. If you don't have a strategy, you have well-funded blunders. Well-funded blunders. And I know you've seen a lot of Rwanda. So, you've seen our biggest exports. Be proud of who you are. So my point is, to all artists, whatever genre you do, try my ways of Zimbabweanizing it. I'm not saying play Sungura. I'm not saying play Chimurenga. You can find a way. Just look at what the Nigerians did. Remember, I said, all genres of music in the world right now, they are traditional music. R&B, I don't think Banana Chris Brown. Yakatobva mashoko unototresa history yedu yakabva next generation vaitambira vaiedhera twayo, next generation vaitambira vaiedhera twayo. Ukaenda kurege ndakupa history yacho yese from mental. Next generation vaitambira vaiedhera twayo, next generation ichitambira chiedhera twayo until yasvika pairi right now. Nigeria the same thing. Yakabva apa from mangoma ekumaruzevha vaitorwa nafela kuti vaiswa twake generation make. Then from generation and feel like the Pinam generation and David Baba so it's still traditional music. So we do traditional arena zire, ladies and gentlemen. Because one munangunzo traditional kutofunga mashabi, kutofunga nzimu, kutofunga, it's our tradition. One. So my point is, intelligence in Zimbabweans, especially my youngsters, let's find a way of digitalizing our own traditional music. Some way, somehow. Just like wrong with one Nigerians. Just like wrong with one Jamaicans. Being in a global village doesn't mean you have to run away from being Zimbabwean to try to sound the Nigerians. Look at the Nigerians, they are sounding like themselves. They are proud of who they are. In Bisus, we are busy, and history from 1930 up to now, that has been our story. It has never taken us anywhere. Tungo repeat. Music yakarizwa kuma 50s yaiva ichitedzera semanje kuSouth Africa zitendo rangu chinja takutedzera dzako mazuva ano. Ine unonzonzi tikufambirana netime. Uri kufambirana netime yemuZimbabwe here kana kufambirana netime yevamwe? Yomwana. So my conclusion ndeyekuti as Zimbabweans, number one, let's be proud of who we are. Pane one guru mwe akambondibata kuti ngatizvitange isusu. Try kutsvaga groove kuti ite sekuti pabude chimwe chizhonda chimwe chakapenga chiri chemuno muZimbabwe ndati if you look around the world pese paitwa machanges pauya machanges anomboitwa nemadhara senyu. I'm turning 55 this year. Ndinoona ndebudze white. Anokuunzwa nemadhara aiunzwa nevapfana. Ndimi nemuchiona zvamuri kuona painternet, ndimuri kuona mazhona zvamuri kuona. Pick certain elements dzinopinda in our own music yemuno muZimbabwe. Ndakuudza kuti Colombia vatocolonize Sungura. Try guys some ways. We are creative, we are intelligent. Let's not run away from ourselves. Life is not fair. Life is what? Thank you very much.
Well, it's monosophical. It is what it is. And we say it like it is.